Happy Saturday, not Tuesday. We are live. We're in the shop. We got Stormy Storm here. Let's go ahead and get the screen a wipe. Let's set a goal. Set the timer. And set a goal. There we go. All right. Okay, Audi's here. Ian's here. Bjorn's here. Zilla's here. What's up, baby? How you living, Biggie Smalls? So today we are going to be doing some one-to-one world building. Uh, doing a casting job for Womprat Mando over on Instagram for an art project he's doing for a client. And we decided on an art swap. And so he sent me some patches and greeblies and stickers and this awesome bar banner for my sci-fi bar. And it says drinks. It says we serve all kinds in Arabesh. I think that's fucking awesome. So this thing deserves something cool uh, to, have it showing. And I'll probably hang it up somewhere before I put it in my bar, maybe with this guy, because we're going to have to start on this guy sooner or later. It's got to happen, right? The weather's nice. It's time. So we've got this awesome fabric. Like, I love the texture, the weathering on it. I'm probably going to do a little bit of my own weathering because I'm me, but I'm excited about this. So picked up some things and pulled some things from my hardware stock from my cosplay days. And some of you guys may actually know me here on YouTube for my cosplay stuff before my toys and world building. If you're tuning in, welcome. What's happening? How we doing? But I had a lot of PVC connectors and things like that because I had made some bows and arrows and different structural things for figures. And what I'm thinking of is because I had the measurements for that, it's 14 across the top. So we're going to cut a piece of PVC that's a little longer than 14 across the top. And it is 32, I think it worked out to be 32 inches long. So I have I believe this is a 5 foot tall piece of PVC, 3/4 inch PVC. This was like $6 at the hardware store. Might have been a little cheaper. Schedule 40 PVC, made in the good old US and A. Um, but this is going to be our pipe. Now, I could have done structural steel like I did for the base. This was only $5. If you go to get one of the ones for actual plumbing, they're like $20. You just want the structural steel one. If you're ever going to make something that sticks off the wall like this and you want that cool, it's steel and it's coated, heavy duty, looks cool, and it's got an Allen key there, an Allen wrench, an Allen socket. What do we call that? It's got a screw there that fits an Allen key, and so when you put your 3/4 inch piece in, there's a stopper to stop it from going through, and then you just tighten that Allen key, and that's going to hold it. So we've got the piece that's going to be the base, or attached to the base, I should say. But I'll show you some of the pieces of PVC and things that I've got here. The elbows. Got a couple of few elbows here. Those were like a couple of bucks maybe. We'll have to do a little bit of sanding and a little bit of wiping down before we paint them, just to take the seams off and cut that shine down, get rid of the legalese. But we're going to texture these. I'll show you how to do that. We're going to do a little bit of experimenting. A couple of couplers I have. You can see these are older. The stickers, I've tried wiping it off, but we can clean that off with alcohol. And some different pieces that have weird textures and appearances. This one might fit me in there. think that's going to be the cap on the one side. Then I've got down here, if you're looking at this, this was a Greebly from Wombrat Mando. I might use, I'm still not sure. I have an excess piece of 3D printed gridding from a friend of mine. So I'm going to put this to use on here. And then this was like a last minute thing is I've had this stupid Target, it's like designed for you to put your cupcakes on or your cakes on for display. And I was going to use it as a landing pad, but I'm thinking I can leave it like this. I could put a light behind it. I have a tea light that is remote control. And let me grab one here just to show it off a little bit. Somewhere here. Where are you, son of a gun? Oh, there it is. So I have a tea light that is remote control, and you turn it on. So I'm thinking maybe we like put some metallic paint or something on there, and when it lights up, it'll glow from behind. I don't know. It's an idea, but I do also like the idea of having having a like a raised platform off the wall for it. And the way we're going to build this is that this can also be used as a just its stand on its own. Right now, probably going to want to put something heavier on it. I would imagine, but we'll see as we go along and build this. So I think we could just get started. There's going to be no power tools. I do have a cutter for PVC, but I am gonna use this, but you could use a regular hacksaw, or if you have a dedicated saw for your plumbing, you could use a Dremel. You could carefully use your table saw, but I enjoy using the right tool for the job when it comes to something like this. So you just literally put your piece of PVC in here and you start squeezing, and this will cut it and give you a nice cut. So to double check, we're gonna take this because I've got the one piece of PVC here. I'm sure I have some more Schedule 40 3/4 inch PVC somewhere in the house or in the garage, but where it is, I don't know. So we're just going to double check. This is, like I said, about 14 inches wide. So let's do this. Got a couple of strays here. I'm going to just take care of these real quick. Kids, don't try this at home. Got those out of the way. These strays out of the way, too. I might hit the edges with a little fray stop, but I also kind of like that. So who knows? Anyway, so what we'll do is just to be sure, we want to make sure that this is going to go through. Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's fantastic. So I'm thinking we cut our first piece. This is going to be the top part. So let's cut it. I'm thinking 16 inches. 16 inches, and then we will fit this on here. So let's see. We'll put the piece on there. It can't hurt, right? So that just makes that interesting. So we got 16 inches. We got a weird piece on there. Yes, actually, we're going to cut it 15 and a half. So I'm just going to go ahead and take a pencil. Yep. Like I said, we're just going to take this great tool. You set it on there so your pipe will sit level. It starts to get cut. Line it up. And now you just squeeze and squeeze and squeeze, and Storm will sniff the pipe. There you go. So that piece is done. And we've got a nice level edge. And I'm assaulted by this piece. Now, my thought is this is where our 90-degree elbow's going to go. So we've got a 90-degree elbow there. Now you could, um, I mean, you could hang your banners like this with the elbows and just have them like facing the wall and just have it like a towel holder. But I want to make sure that this thing gets this type of support. This this is badass. So we could just do like this and have it go into the base and call it a day. But I want to go a little further than that, give it a little more character. So we're gonna have it. We're gonna cut it right here. Yeah, we're gonna cut it right here. So again, I'm gonna. Where's that pencil? I think Bjorn came and stole the pencil from me. Son of a bitch. There it is. So we will cut this right here. And I'm going to go ahead and take this off just for the moment while we do some cutting. Love my hat. Oh, thank you, sir. This was the custom. I think I did this. Didn't I do this on a live or didn't I make a video of it? I can't remember. And hook. Come on. Made a video. Yeah. There we go. And again, we're going to cut right on that PVC, that line of PVC here. What that's going to do. Camera down here. About to have some Hunan pork. Nice. Not gonna lie to you, my caveman brain read that it's human pork, and we were gonna have a conversation. Sorry, Storm, that was a little loud, wasn't it, buddy? It's okay. Right. So now we've got this piece, and we're gonna say that's coming out of the wall that way, and that's gonna go on there, and then we have this. We have an elbow coming out of the wall, right? That's pretty cool. And I should get my tools out so I can tighten that up. I think that'll be a good idea in a minute, but we tighten that up. We tighten this up. And now we have a wall mount for this. And it could be sticking out of a wall this way, so there's space here, or we could, you know, we could turn this way, excuse me, so that that's there. We could also, if we really wanted to get wild with it, we could flip the flag. Here we go. We could flip the flag so the image is on the other side and then turn this way and have it hung off the wall like that. So we got some options, and you could attach it to a backpack, absolutely. Because this is a sign for like an establishment, I think it'll be stationary. But yeah, you could absolutely do that, like a Japanese warrior's flag. So we've got our pieces of PVC cut. We're not going to put words are hard. Put plumber's dope or anything on there, but I want to give this a little more character. I want to give this a little more texture. So I think I'm going to cut this centerpiece twice, and we're going to join it together with these uh, connectors just to give it a little more texture, a little more character. Then we'll prep all this for paint. We're going to hand paint it. You could spray paint it. Other chances I might spray paint it, but we're going to hand paint it. You guys know I love to do this, but we're going to do my painting method like we always do with texturing and weathering. I'm just going to show you guys how it can apply to larger scale props. And again, this thing is friggin' awesome. So let me just dash out of the room for a second to get my I guess I don't need it right this second. I won't dash out of the room just yet. We're gonna take this off of here. And like I said, just gonna pop that off. So we've got our pieces. We're gonna put this awesome flag. We're gonna go ahead and here you go, buddy. This is your job for the day. You just stand here and look like you're selling something. He's gonna stand there and look like he's selling something. Uh, so I love what's going on thing. I love doing shit like this. This is one of my favorite things to do. Is like building stuff like this, building props, full scale stuff. I took a break from it for a while. Thane, Jesus broke in, hid my eggs, and told me I have to stop doing that thing that I do in the bathroom, which I thought was weird. So this piece here, working on, is, excuse me, Storm. Oh, 36 inches on the nose. So we want to divide 36 into 3. Haha. Let me get out my handy dandy math. I am not smart. I am not good at math, so you're gonna have to bear with me. And if any of you make fun of me, I'll pull your hair. I just need a scrap piece of paper to write on. Oh, 36 divided by 3. So 12 inches. So we're going to cut it here, 12 inches, and then 24 inches. That should give me 3 equal length of material. Could I have done that in my head? You can hear the ocean if you lean up against my ear. So, is what it is. Um, but hey, no shame in that. If if you have a little difficulty doing math and you need a piece of scratch paper to do it or break out your calculator, fucking do it. Don't let anybody give you a hard time. If they do, you tell them to come see Uncle Famine, and I'll sort them out. All right, first piece here. Okay. One. And then we're going to cut the next one. Perfect. Once again, that's just a PVC cutter for I got this at the hardware store for like 25 bucks. I've used it a ton for cutting PVC for cosplay and also for home use for projects. I like having a tool that can do that for me. But again, you could cut it with a regular saw. Um, so we've got about three the same size pieces. We have our 2 joins here that will go on one, in the middle, and then we just reassemble. And now we have a flagpole with just a little bit of texture on it. And if you have different fittings that you want to use on yours, if you decide to do something like this, or you find something that's more Star Warsy, fucking rock on. You may also want to 3D print a piece that just slips over so you don't have to do cuts. That also works too. I'm working with what I can find at the hardware store and what I had laying in my bin. That's why that is. But I always encourage people to explore and try new things. Now, earlier I said we were going to do a little bit of sanding and scraping to get stickers and stuff off of things. So let's consider that. Let's take a look at our parts here, see what we've got. We kind of ruled this piece out. Set it aside. I don't need to revisit that anytime soon. But we've got these joins, we've got our elbows, we've got this end piece here, which actually, will this thread into there? No. Oh, you're not a mating piece. We could hack it and glue it on the end. It's an option. We'll see. But also, I could put like another greebly on the end. That don't mean nothing. So that's off. So we've got our pieces of PVC. Set those right here on the table. But our priority focus right now is cleaning off the legalese. I'm going to leave these little flat pieces here, probably from the mold, like the blow injection mold, and just kind of clean these up, make them look a little less like PVC, and then we're going to texture those. We're going to really, really heavily texture them with Mod Podge and baking soda, and possibly super glue and baking soda. I've got some ideas. And then these we are just going to Scotch-Brite down just like that to get some of that off of there. And then we will pre-weather these up and then get some paint on them. So again, we've broken this up into smaller bite-sized pieces, which makes our work easier for us. Now, if you're not familiar with what I'm going to be doing on a one-to-one scale, if you're a hobbyist and you've gotten, say, a model kit and you've cleaned up the mold lines, or you've done a custom action figure, which a lot of you guys are toy makers, same thing. You know, you get a seam line, flat edge, take it down, get a little sandpaper. We're going to use sanding sticks, maybe some sandpaper, but I'm not too set on the sandpaper thing. I think it's just going to be sanding sticks and Scotch-Brite and just having a good old time. Baking soda out, just so I can remember it. But yeah, um, how's your day been? How's everybody doing? Let's see. That's a weird noise, but I've just taken what's on this side, which you can, let me see if I can get the light to catch it. Yeah, that seam line there, I've started to just take it down. That's all. Just take it down a little bit. Help the material look more uniform. There's no explicit reason that says you have to. You do not have to. This is just something that I want to do for my own thought process on this and how I want it to look. Some people may do other things. Some people may say, hey, I don't care enough that that's on there. It doesn't bother me. And that's awesome. More power to you. So please don't ever feel some type of way if you really don't want to do a step, as long as it's, not like an integral step of this. If you're like, oh, I'm only going to buy one piece of PVC and just like going to use that. Now you could have gotten a heat gun and you could have bent the PVC carefully, filled it with sand and bent it. I didn't want to do that. I wanted a put together look to a certain extent, and that is what we are doing here. Is we made pieces with larger elbows and connection fittings to make it appear as though it was put together. And these are all tips and tricks that I have learned through various set designers, stagecraft stage designers. What's up, Starboy? People that work on movies, and Quinny really wants Storm to go play with him, and Storm would rather take a nap today. But I've learned this again from various people who've worked in films, television, and also on stage, and these are just things that they do. Some of this I have learned from costumers and prop makers as well, and I'm sharing it with you because, like I've always said, I don't want to gatekeep this shit. I don't feel there's any value. It's not paying my bills. Granted, there is Patreon, which you guys have always been generous with. There's super chats, which you've always been generous with. Those do help. Honestly, they usually go to the cats stuff and the cats treats, and that's fine because that's probably where I'd spend the money anyway. Although it did help keep the electricity on, especially with the rising costs. But I don't see any monetary value in me keeping a skill that I've learned that I can share that can easily be done at home that's going to help make your artwork better and maybe a project you're working on. Hell, I've used these elbows in world building, and I'll show you. Like I've cleaned it up to use it in world building. Let me grab this. I'll actually grab a building. Yeah, come on, don't break. But like, boom. I've cleaned up that piece there and turned it into like a, I don't know, a plumbing piece that came out of there or something and graffitied it up in 1/18 scale. So these skills just transfer over from small to big and big to small. So don't, you know, if you're one of my toy folks that comes in and you see I'm working on, 1-to-1 scale and you're like, ah, damn, I'm really hoping that famine guy was, doing something else. It applies to the toy scale, our 1/18 and 1/12 scale figures. Love the bit of graffiti on that piece. Thank you. Right in front of the police station too. That's supposed to be a Star Wars police station. Number two pencil. I think you were asking, Angus. Yeah, a Staples number two pencil. And you could do this with a Dremel. This like bit of cleanup that I'm doing here. It's louder. Um, you're gonna have to spend more time doing finishing on it, surface finishing, whereas I'm using a nail file to do the majority of the heavy lifting and heavy work for me. And then I use the other side of the file with the nicer, smoother grain, the higher grit, to help polish it to flush with the pipe. And if you miss a little bit of it, and there's a little bit, like I'm sure that's a little bit proud if cut out in the bathroom. I gotcha. Yeah, that's the thing that Jesus was talking about. Um, if I was to like paint this and dry brush it like I normally did, those letters might be a little proud, but we are going to texture this, like I said, so it's going to be less of an issue. Um, and here I do just go around these edges here so that they're scuffed up because that's we're going to weather where the pipes join to make it look like this thing has been doing this job holding up a flagpole for a while. It's going to help match the weathering with that and the aesthetic that I'm going to be doing for my sci-fi bar. And Storm is just having a chomp on himself right now. Hi, buddy. Hi, Daisy. You want to say hi to the audience, Daisy? Do Daisy do? Nope. Daisy says, "How are you guys?" Sorry, but and these are little. Where are we headed, Storm? You going out the door to go to the bathroom, buddy? What do you need? Yep, he's headed towards the door. He also knows at some point today he's going to get his nails clipped, which he's nonplussed about. But it is what it is. But these are the types of projects too, is where if you're working on something for cosplay or you just want a really cool like flag flagpole sci-fi thing, maybe you want to make like a you could I don't know. There you go. There's a railing on your 1/18 diorama on a walkway to keep people from falling, or it's pipes from above. Same principle applies. But you can work on these things like I am sanding them now. Um, it did. I did open it up, and I'm so sorry. Again, I keep typing out messages and not hitting send. I opened it up. Everything was good. A couple of bits snapped off, but that was, I think, maybe my manhandling when I opened it. But I'm excited to work on both of those. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And again, just using my X-Acto blade here to take the seam line off of this. But yeah, you can work on parts like this while you're watching TV, listening to the news, chatting with friends. Um, as long as you're cognizant of what you're doing and you're careful. Obviously, don't draw the blade at yourself in such an unsafe way that you would cut yourself. But these are little things that take a couple of minutes to do, and add so much more value to what you're working on. Visual. Hey, to the kitty treat fund. Thank you, Tone. Daisy Do, say thank you. And that is one vote towards the Q&A. Even though I A all your Qs here. I'm sure you guys come up with something. Daisy's having a clean right now. But speaking of kitties, I did spend some time today with my stray that you guys have seen me posting about online. Yeah, don't use sharp objects when watching the news. And I actually sat outside with him while he was sunning himself and giving himself a bath and talked to him while I ate my hot dog that I had for dinner with some fruit and had a drink, had half of this thing, half of this Celsius while I was out there in the sun. And it was really cool to bond with him. And he sat there and squinted, did slow blinks, and listened. And he paid attention to me the whole time. And I'm really trying to win him over so that he will let me get him to the vet and get him checked out. He doesn't appear to have anything wrong with him. He has had his ear clipped, which means around here that he's been trapped, neutered, and spayed and released, which is awesome. But I want to make sure that he's doing okay and he doesn't have anything wrong with him. And hopefully he will be comfortable with becoming a indoor kitty because he's pretty damn rad. Not our rad, but he's pretty damn rad. And speaking of Tone, you guys go back and watch Tone's interview with Roman today. Ronan, excuse me. There were some funnies there. Um, you know, Ronan was wrong about some of his musical choices, but you can't hold that against everybody. Mainly Tone for bringing it up. But yeah, there was a little bit of there's some conversation about Billy Corgan, which I could go on about that guy. Like you'd think that I would consider him cool. Like he made dope music. He's fucking bald. He made bald being like something that was more socially acceptable, is not like a haha you lost your hair, but like haha you fucking look cool. And he owns a wrestling company. Those three things alone should make me like that man, and yet he continues to just do weird shit. But I digress. I blame Tone. And we're just taking the letters down again on the inside of the radius too, because I'm sure that like I don't know if I've completely explained to you guys about the sci-fi bar, but not only will it be like a sci-fi, oh my goodness. Cats look like they're starving. Okay. I'll Angus, I'll send you the picture of Daisy where it looks like she's had a Brazilian butt lift because she's so fluffy. She was sitting and she's got like this dark her white fur gets darker down her back, and so it was just like these two lumps of fur, and it looked like she just had this big fat butt. It was fucking kill. I was dying laughing. But yeah, to circle back to the bar, I want a cool sci-fi hangout that screams Blade Runner and Star Wars and Doctor Who and time travel and Alien and all of those things, but I'm gonna make it blend. It's not just gonna be like, oh, this wall panel is inspired by Alien, and then this one is the Imperial pattern from Star Wars. I want you to look around and just be immersed in science fiction, immersed in sci-fi. And in such, I want it to be done up really cool. So when people come over, I want to have my friends over with their cosplay and their costumes and have let them set up and take pictures and, have a sabacc table. I have a poker table that I purchased during the pandemic that I'm gonna hopefully get screen printed or screen print it myself with how you doing, Daisy Doo? Oh, you're so beautiful. Oh, she's so beautiful. Screen print it with the sabacc placement so people could play sabacc while we hang out down there and have cocktails and whatnot. And I want it to be a fully immersive place like Disney does. So when you go into a Disney bar, whether it's Trader Sam's or when it was Oga's, like I want it to be fully immersive. So doing these little things now where I'm like taking labels off of things that would stand out in a photo or stand up under scrutiny, I put in a little bit of work now. This is fun to me. And I think it's going to reflect in the photography when people take pictures and stuff because our cameras are so fucking advanced that it's so cool. I'm going to go the extra step. I'm gonna hide the logos on things that I don't want to show. Like I'm gonna have in-universe stuff, and that's what I'm working on. Hey, thanks for stopping in, Red. Smack the like button if you didn't already. I appreciate that. And you enjoy your time with the missus. Hello, hello from us here at the studio. Daisy says hi as she's licking herself to death. But I like putting my time into a lot of artwork and things like this, and it has been a very long time since I have done. Thank you, man. Love the shirt. It's been a long time since I fit into a shirt this size. Speaking of starving, Thane Bonaparte. Oh, what a gentleman. He is a good man. Yes, I have a couple of metal sabacc coins. I have the metal card from Disney. I have some in his. When I get to that point, I'll grab that case down there. I think I have an ingot of Beskar from Smuggler's Room. I have various metal fake coins that are like sci-fi. Have dinner, have a good time, and have a great night, my friend. And I have so many decks of Sabak cards. I have the dealer's blocks, all those things like that. I have different Star Wars inspired dice games that I've been collecting. I want this place to be legit. And yeah, just a place for people to hang out and be immersed in science fiction and Star Wars that's not gimmick, but gimmick will be represented down there. I have an idea of a couple of one-to-one scale props from gimmick that I think I can bring IRL and have there, but that's for future things. Gonna have some blasters mounted to the wall, some, excuse me, plaques from various sci-fi things that you may not recognize or you might recognize, who knows. But this has been a long project that I've been mapping, and now the weather's starting to break, and I have better access to my tools and things like that, and access to the motivation to get there because depression's a real motherfucker, and it will interrupt everything you love and hold dear. Um, and I just like I can't wait to get to this. It's been a while since I've been so excited to work on a prop, and this was like just a great kick in the ass getting that to do something. So this is gonna be cool. What you doing, Daisy? You coming down? So we got this one done. And we got this one done. And like I said, you know, we took down the lettering on the insides of the radius too. We'll go over this with a little alcohol to take off that garbage, and then we'll sand it. We'll scuff it up with some Scotch Brite, and we're gonna paint these by hand. Like I said, we got a couple more pieces to do here. So for these, this one doesn't. Oh yeah, I guess it does have some writing on it. So we'll real quick just scrape off that writing again using the flat of loft. And we're just using the X-Acto to carefully scrape the letters flush. That's all we're doing. Hello, Daisy. Where you headed, lady? You looking for your brother? I'll get the door for you if you want to go down. Can I help you? Oh, you're gonna go off. Okay, here she goes. Thump. There's a seam around the middle. So again, we'll just carefully take that off. What you doing, Daisy? And yeah, it will be a functional bar too. Craft cocktails, cold bottled beverages, whatever. You know how I do. I am a aficionado, as it were, of craft cocktails and tiki beverages, and I think I can I think I could sci-fi up some tiki cocktails. I think that's something that can be done. And these steps, I think, again, they're not necessary, but a fictionado. Yeah, I could be a fictionado. Just clean that up a little bit. And now that that's taken care of, one more time around that edge. Cool, cool, cool. So we've only got two more small pieces to do, these two. Nice. Do you need me to get the door for you? What are you doing? Oh, Daisy do. Hi, honey. Let's get a little, I'm gonna clean that sticky residue off with some rubbing alcohol. Give me 1 second, kids. I'll get the door for you, ma'am. Here I go. I'm getting there. You're silly. Come on. Out the door. There we go. Go play. Go see your brother. Watch your tail. Bye. Love that Daisy. So we'll do this one next. Again, I want to get a little bit of rubbing alcohol. Paper towel. Pretend my window's open. This is a well ventilated space. I could also use heat to help me remove this, but rubbing alcohol is doing the job. That's the thing. They put these stickers on to like stop, I guess, stop theft or, make it easier to scan and count and everything, but it's like they don't even consider the artist. They don't consider the artist struggling to remove this off of there. Ridiculous. I'm going to call up Stephen PVC and have a conversation with him. And yes, that is his name, Stephen PVC. His his nephew is Schedule 30 and Schedule 40. That's how they were named. Cool. So we've got that sticky residue off. We can now clean up that seam a little bit and also take these letters off of there. I guess we'll do the letters first because why not? And these ones are a little more proud than the other ones were. But all they say is like 3/4 inch PVC one. Don't stick this in your butt. Don't put these small parts in your mouth. Made in the USA. They don't want you putting things in your butt. Apparently, they're no fun. I don't know. And as always with like sanding sticks and things like that, they're consumables. Fucking throw them away. Don't sit there and run it till it's bald, and then you wonder why it's not doing any sanding because you've worn off all the grit. It's done its job. Took me years to learn that, but consumables are part of the business, part of the hobbying, part of 118 scale, 112 scale, any art really. Oil painters, they consumable, they use oil to thin their oil paints. They use brushes, they use canvas, rags, things like that. Like those are all things that are consumables that an artist may need. Cool. And this one's got a little bump on here. Thoroughly recovered. Have a good dinner. I love this community. I'm telling you. Coming from, and I've said this before and I've said it again, like coming from the 112 community, um, it always felt like a competition with people in that community, whether they wanted it to or not. Whereas with 118, especially the World Makers Consortium, um, with the group of people that we've made, blades are consumables, yeah. But like the 118 community that we have here is something special, and I appreciate it. Like, can't say that enough. Everybody seems to help everybody out, whether it's, hey, I need help with this, or can you keep an eye out for this figure? Can you help me with this? And that's the other part of it too, is like I came from cosplay, and that community it's changed and evolved, and I think it's a I don't want to say a younger person's game. That's not what it is. I know plenty of older people who cosplay and still have a time of their life with it. I just think that that portion of it, the conventions, the guesting, the competing isn't for me anymore. But I like the making part of it. I like the artwork. Um, I think it's cool when people, just buy a costume and put it on and you know, style it up themselves and then go to town. I think it's cool when somebody hand weaves the material for their fabric because they saw a certain fabric in a video game or in a movie or a TV show and they couldn't track it down. So they sourced the dyes and they got the yarn, they bleached the yarn, they dyed the yarn, and then weaved the poncho. Like, I think that's badass. And I think that's pretty goddamn valid as a form of art goes, just like it is dressing up and pretending to be another character is a form of art. Um, I just think that the aspect of cosplay that I used to really be into and involved with, which was the convention scene, the dressing up, the judging contest, the hosting contest and stuff, I'll probably still host here and there. I do like, you guys know, I'm a fucking yapper. I love to talk. Give me a microphone and a captive audience, and here we are. But I think that that aspect of it is far less fun for me anymore than it is to make the pieces of a certain costume or like build a part or build a prop for somebody and produce it. The art that goes into it is the fun part for me. My art. And I think that I'm done with conventions, but I certainly still would like to make Star Wars and sci-fi themed stuff. I think that there needs to be more of that. I remember I did a video. We made this fucking hat, and that was fun. And it was just I needed a Wayland Utani hat that looked sci-fi, and here we are. I've got it. I'm more than happy with it. And it was just something I got to do and hang out and chat with my friends and make something. And trust me, I've got totes out in the garage with all my pieces for Star Wars characters, sci-fi characters. I have my shoulder pauldron right over there that I've just been waiting to do, and I think that's going to be a very soon video, um, to go with my poncho that he is currently wearing. Um, but yeah, it's just a matter of it was a matter of me finding the right part of the thing that I loved again to do it again, and this was a cool, unexpected like mood lifter that came with this flag and for my sci-fi bar project. So Health, yeah. Oh, and you're still here, right? You're still here in the chat. Question for you. You are here. Um, that thing that we talked about that you confirmed with me yesterday, are y'all still planning on stopping and staying here, or is it going to be a straight shot? Either way works, but need to be up in 6 hours. Go get some sleepy, and we'll see you, man. Be well, and happy Easter, by the way. If I assume you're singing at service tomorrow. These letters are proud, but this plastic seems a little more malleable. Something tells me that the other one was not Schedule 40. I don't know. Oh, I know what I can put on the end of this. I have a couple of Greeblies that I think will look badass on this that are cast out of resin floating around here. Okay, and there's no seam line that's apparent on here, but we're just gonna, like we're doing all the way, a little bit of sanding because we want that to be able to pick up some grime and chalk pastel that's going to be used for weathering. Oh yeah, we're gonna do chalk pastel stuff, baby. We are full tilt on this project, guys. You're in it to win it now with me here. So Tone, are you working on art tonight? Cool. Screen, did it show you in your chat? Didn't show. Not yet. Might game. I have no idea what that sentence means, my friend. You and that goddamn voice to chat is gonna be the death of you. Okay. So now we've de-letterfied and cleaned up the seams enough. Now we're gonna use our Scotch Brite here, our Scotch Brite pad, to just take the shine, that shininess off of here as best we can. And that's gonna help our paint adhere to this and all our weathering powders and everything and all the texture and shit that we're gonna use and build up on here. But I just remembered I want to use the rubbing alcohol and take all these barcodes and shit off just to less interference with the paint, I think. Can't guarantee it. And it might not work. It might not be like acetone. Maybe it's sealed on there. I don't know. Guess we'll find out, huh? Nope, that's not on there. Let's try the pipes. Let's just curiosity's sake. Nope. I shouldn't be allowed. I shouldn't be allowed to have things. That guy Famine, he was blowing a bottle of rubbing alcohol earlier. Is that a euphemism? No, he literally was just not necessarily. It's a straight shot CT, divert and send the dogs with Maggie and catch up with her. Okay. Um, also works. And then I could honestly, I could probably um, follow you down to help unload if you need it because it's only an hour and 45 minutes, said Steve GPS. So, see, it's still a little shiny, but it's much more matte than, say, this one. See how this one's like really glistening and shiny, and this one is just more, yes, it reflects light. That's what we want. We want this to just have enough tooth, enough surface texture to adhere with paint. Now, also, I think I'm going to take an extra step with this one just because it's got so many flat surfaces to take a new sanding stick and sand those with the polish side just to give it a little bit of a more of a fighting chance to get texture. Steve GPS and Steve PVC are cousins. Well, see, they're not cousins, but they went to school at the same time at different places, and that's how they're related. Excuse me. But don't confuse Steve GPS with Dave Target. That son of a bitch knows that he did. Well, they went to school with each other at separate schools at a different time. Trust me, I know it gets complicated. But they both did go to school. All right, that piece is good to go. We're just going to continue on our saga here again. Take the shine off of this bad boy here, and I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to use the pipe to give me a handle so that I can get that texture on there. And if you're a World War II cosplayer, Steelhead. But again, another piece ready for what we're gonna do. Same thing. We're gonna use our pipe handle and just go over it and give it, take that shine off, give it some texture for the paint to stick to. Potato masher. Yep, you got it. Could be. Could be. Yeah. Yeah. I guess it's the same thing. So yeah. Oh, and for all the toy homies out there, the Easter Bunny came and left this for me. The Easter Bunny got this for me. So that'll be fun. Uh, gonna find out if I can take that orange off of that armor. Easter Bunny got me. And shit all over the place. Just rabbit turds everywhere, man. Kebabs. Grilling some kebabs and it's a tad chilly. Yeah, it was nice during the day today outside. I was able to, like I said, I was able to sit earlier and enjoy my dinner with the stray. And as soon as that sun started to go behind the cloud cover, though, it got a tit bit nipply. And that's gotten all done up. Same this. And I do enjoy me some sunshine lately. I've been really needing that. It's been very gray here, very rainy. It feels like upstate New York winters. I don't know if maybe it's because it's going to sound cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Maybe it's because everything else is so bad that I'm noticing the longer, grayer, rainy season that we've been having. Uh, but it's just needed some sunshine. And today was that day, which it was lovely, getting out, getting some sun. Like I said earlier, I went to Lowe's to do some I was going to do some shopping to get myself a ladder, and then ladders are fucking expensive, so that was a no go. But I did pick up lights for the garage to replace the bulbs that are out. Priced out some of the stuff for my bookshelves, my built ins that I'm going to be doing. But I was kind of bummed because it was like super busy and I didn't want to be there with all those people. And I was like, damn, would have loved a shelf so I could start getting my books on it. What are you going to do? I can always go next week or go during the week and get things. About 40 yards from my house, one of the neighbors threw out an actual like wooden, well-built bookshelf, not banged up, not broken, not wobbly or anything. They just put it out on the side of the road for somebody to take. Got me a damn bookshelf so I can get my books on it. I don't know if I'll work it into my built-ins, but I wanted it to. This is gonna wind up on Reddit or something. This is definitely somebody's fetish. Um, but now I've got a bookshelf. And so I wiped it all down, cleaned it. Doesn't smell like pet piss or anything. There were some spider webs, cobwebs in the corners and stuff. I cleaned out, knocked out, but I gave it a good wipe down and I'm letting it dry in the garage. And I'll probably bring it in again. Just taking the shine off. I did not pee. No tone pee. No tone pee pee on it. And one fun thing we're gonna do here to save our time on painting, and it's the dumbest thing that you could save time on painting for. If you were gonna spray paint this, right? You're like, F that, man, that famine guy with his hand painting things. I just want to spray paint it again. I'll probably spray paint in the future. Take your pieces. We know this is the long middle piece. Or no, this is doesn't matter. Take your pieces. Put your elbows on there, your joints. Take your pencil and just go around that spot. Same with down here. Go around, pop those off. And if you're spray painting them, just wrap your painter's tape around that and around there. It's going to save you product. It's going to save you time. And also, it's going to save paint from getting gummed up when you're putting it in. So then you have that bloom of like paint that pushes up and then it's stuck and it's crumbly. And then if you start picking at it, it might chip the paint. Save yourself an entire step. Just a little tip. Little tip from old famine from Famine Studios over here. But just anything to make the go together easier and the application of your surface finishes, whatever they may be, a little bit easier. I like to, I like to do that for you guys. Because I care, right? Because I care. Some people are like, oh, does Famine really care about his audience? I heard that he makes raspberry noises at them when they're not around. He's like, oh, there's that person who's a fan. I don't do that. I know, because I care. Again, just taking the shine off the PVC, that coating, and it's probably from, I don't know, maybe a combination of like whatever mold release when they make these at charlottepipe.com, or the heat from the process of making PVC that makes the exterior shiny and the interior shiny. But I just like to take that shine off because it helps the paint stick a little better. So we're going to go ahead and put this thing together one last time and make all those marks with pencil so I know where I can stop painting. So we've got our little guy, and he gets a 90-degree elbow coming out the gate. So we have bring you guys down low here. All right, right into the zone, the battle zone, or the auto zone. So that's going to be that height. So I'm just taking that pencil and going there, and then I'm taking this and just going around there. Now I know that I only have to paint here. I do not have to put any paint there. I don't have to put any paint there. It's a little thing, but it's gonna make shit go so much smoother for you. You put your piece on there. So then next we know, hey, we got 3 of these pieces that are gonna match. So we put that. Which one do I want in the middle? Well, they're both gonna be in the middle, famine, so doesn't matter. Neat. We'll do this one. Okay. And then we'll do this one. And then we're gonna extend with this one. We're gonna put that piece in there. Okay. So now we have all these pieces. We know that this is going to come back this way. Whoops, old famine already did this one because we thought things through. So once again, such awesome grip. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Uh, but again, pencil, go around where the pipes join. Save yourself some paint. Save yourself some headache of fitting the pieces together. If you were going to glue this up, you'd have a good line on where to glue it up. I am again not going to glue it up because I want to be able to adjust it if I'd like to. Maybe in the future I want to shorten it a little bit or change a direction. But just take your number 2 pencil and go around, and that is going to give you your stopping point for your paint. If you're going to spray paint it, that's your mask line, so that you don't get overspray in that area and you don't have to paint in that area. And that has already been done. So now we're going to take it apart and we're going to start in the elbows and the end cap first. Get those painted up and textured up, because again, we're going to make those pieces have a bit of a different texture than the pipes themselves. So I'm just going to lay these pieces out in the order that I put them on here. Don't matter too much, but for keeping track. Okay. So we've got those pieces out of the way. We have our 3 pieces here. So we are going to do a process here. And I want to clean up some of this dust from all the sanding. Trash bag over here. Cool. Need that in the way anymore. So we have Mod Podge. We have sponges. We're going to sponge on some Mod Podge, and we're going to give some texture. We're going to use our friend here, the heat wand. We know it. We love it. It beeps at us to help dry it. And we're going to go ahead and use the regular matte lye Mod Podge. You may say to yourself, well, famine, why is it a lye? You know why. I'm just going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to use this PVC as a handle. We have this here. Go ahead and get this all on here. I'm being a little generous, but not overly sloppy with it. Teehee. Because we're going to start stippling on here and giving different areas a higher texture. But we want to make sure that we get full coverage. The cat's playing with a tennis ball outside the door. Little cat-sized tennis ball. And I know this because you'll hear it thump, and then you'll hear the cat land after it because they throw it in the air and then try and catch it. They're very smart, very fun critters. All right, so See how we've loaded that up? We can even kind of go around this piece here, around the edges. Got our little container, baking soda. Just adding some character. And then just tap. It's on there, right? That's pretty good. See how that's got like that weird texture? Now we're gonna move this out of the way. We're gonna grab our magic wand here. Not a Hitachi. Nobody get too excited. I'm just gonna help this cure up, cure fast the pipe. If you were doing this with spray paint, you would just do this before you spray painted. Like we're gonna paint over this, but you would do this before you spray painted and let it cure, or make a cure and then spray paint it. You wouldn't like spray paint and sprinkle it on. I'm sure you could. That's Storm knocking on the door. Very smart kid. But there we go. It's noisy. Oh, cool. And that's getting absorbed into that Mod Podge and hardening up there. And then I'm just gonna pull that out, set it there and let it dry. Same goes for the next piece. Same process. We get our Mod Podge on our brush. Be generous with it. A little bit sloppy, but not too sloppy. Put the edge of the sponge to use to build up bubbles, ripples, ridges. Kind of almost like this. Maybe these pieces would be like whatever the outer space equivalent is to cast iron. Something like this texture, rough metallic texture, right? So that's what we're doing here. That's what we're creating. Just going around and tapping. And you could do this part here. You could do this a few times. Yes, Storm. Let me stop what I'm working on and get the door for you, buddy. I say that with love. I'm going to do that. But you could just do this over and over again as it dries each layer and build it up. I like the baking soda crispy, crunchy texture. Let me let Storm in the door. He's a good guy. Come on, Storm. Come on, go ahead, buddy. Not you, Quinny. No, you misbehave, sir. Your brother comes in here, he misbehaves only once in a while, whereas you come in and you always misbehave. Thank you, sir. Love you. Go ahead, Storm. Good jump. Go ahead, up in your box. Good boy. Say hello. It's wet and stinky. There you go. You just dipped your paw right in the Mod Podge, didn't you? He's a good kid. He tries. Let me see. Let me see the paw. Nope, you're good. Again, take a little baking soda. Do a little sprinkle. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Kebabs are almost done. Everyone have a great night. Hey, enjoy your kebabs. And thank you for stopping in. We appreciate it. See, just a good little buildup. Same process again. Grab our wand. You could just let this dry, right? You could just chill out and let this air dry, maybe let it dry overnight or a few hours. Technically, Mod Podge takes weeks to achieve a full cure, but we're not like Mod Podging photographs or something like that. We're building props, right? So we're doing it the old school way. What are you doing, buddy? I'm not going to play answer and unlock the door and open the door and unlock the door and unlock the door, bud. I don't know if you have a cat name for it for that game, but we're not playing it. He knows I'm absolutely going to do it, but I have to try and be, try and be serious famine for a minute for him, for the little guys. Let's see, it's nice. Let's draw down there. Hell yeah. Again, let that piece dry. Repeat the same thing. There's a lot of repetition when you're doing like assembly line stuff like this. If this was on a movie set or whatever, or not a movie set, but like a studio house or whatever, there would be people like handling each step of this as it went, or somebody would be doing like Joe's job today, if we're making 20 of these, is to texture up all the joins and then get them ready for paint, right? So Joe would work on that, and you know, Dave would work on cutting the PVCs to length for all of them, things like that. Somebody would be making the banners and getting those weathered up and ready for screen use after the art got approved. But we don't have that, and so it's just me doing it, and I'm the guy. I'm Joe, Steve, and Mary today. Did he say he's married to Joe and Steve? Boy, that famine guy gets around. It's true, I do. Cool, cool. Again, we're gonna hit it with the heat gun. Yeah, brother. But I am curious for the friends that are here watching this build right now. What if you had to make if you were going to make a prop, whether it's the 3D printed kit or you're going to scratch build it or whatever? What's the prop that you would make? What's one that you would want in your maybe your man cave or your toy room or your own sci-fi bar or corner of the house where you keep all your sci-fi props? What's the one thing that you would love to have, or maybe you do have? If drop it in the chat, and if you're watching the replay, throw it in the comment section below. I'm sincerely curious. I actually have my most wanted prop in my collection. It's in my it's on a bookshelf right now. But it was a episode 2 clone trooper helmet that I customized based on some art I had found and a based on some art I had found and an idea that I had running through my head for a while here. Let me let this clown out. I got it, buddy. You in this door. Yes, buddy, I got it. Here you go. Go play with your sister and your brother. Thank you, sir. I love you. But I'd gotten a kit and I put the kit together and I painted it and I was very, very happy with it. You could do this with not necessarily a makeup sponge, but like a torn bit of a clean dish sponge or actual sea sponge. Although I try not to buy sea sponge anymore. Hey, Bonseltov. Yeah, I'm just using the heat wand to help this Mod Podge cure a little bit faster. And we're on the last two pieces, so this is going very swimmingly. We're going to let those dry as we put our first coats of paint on the PVC pipes. And I should be smart, and I think I am going to be smart. Is we're going to grab a piece of regular foam insulation, and I'll put a couple of skewers on it, so when we paint it, we can stand the PVC upright and not worry about them getting knocked over or rolling across and getting the paint messed up. It'll help it dry quicker because it'll get full air. It's going to be pretty straightforward. We're going to start with painting them black as I always do. And then we're going to get a little wiki wild with it with some metallics. And then we will seal it up with some podge for texture and also to protect it and assemble this bitch. But we're going to put it together, paint it, weather it. It's going to look good. I'm very excited for it. Kebabs do sound good. Our regional, I guess call it a kebab, is something they call a speedy. And it's a like a western, almost a western New York thing that's pretty common around here, and you get them at fairs and stuff. But Brooks Barbecue is the primary one, and it's the best fucking barbecue uh, around. And I love their chicken, their roasted half chickens that they do more than most foods. Like if I could eat their barbecue chicken every night for dinner, I probably would. That's how good it is. And they do sell their sauces at the store, but man, nothing beats those. They pull up with a giant truck with a giant grill that they pull out and they fill it and they, you know, lump charcoal and they actually barbecue the chicken. It's good. Okay, okay. So if you're ever in the Oneonta area and you go to their restaurant, you tell them Famine sent you. They'll look at you and they'll be like, "Why? Are you hungry? Is that what that means?" Hey, boss, this guy's talking about somebody named Phantom. Phantom? No, Famine. Salmon? And it's just a whole thing. So, just don't tell them that I sent you. Just go there and be happy. But yeah, their regular barbecue sauce too is amazing. Cool. Get this baking soda right out of here. Get out of the way because we don't need it anymore. Goodbye, baking soda. We're gonna grab our heat gun real quick. Our heat wand, I should say. we're doing excellent work here. We're making good time on this too, guys. I'm really proud. I'm proud of all your contributions, gang. You've done a lot. And also, yeah, fire off your questions in the chat if you got any. Cool, cool. Use this little sponge here to covered in baking soda. I look like I just came from Tony Montana's house. All right. Piece of foam insulation. Or, Yep, we're going to use a piece of foam insulation. And what am I going to use for skewers? Do I have skewers? I have toothpicks. Now I know what you're thinking. Before you get all wild on me. You're like, Famine. Can't possibly think that a toothpick is going to hold that up. You're right. I can't. What I can do is put 3 toothpicks out at an angle, like such. And then, when I place this on here, it's going to hold them. It's much harder to knock over. Little tip from me to you. Little tip from me to you. Yeah, that's how we're going to do. So we're going to start. Let's get rid of this Mod Podge brush. That's why we have disposable. Ow! Disposables and some. And we're going to grab our friend here. Testors, testoronis, chalkboard paint. Black. Love this paint. Oh, gooey noises. Okay. And we are going to paint these. Do I want to use another? Let's see how a sponge does on this. I don't know that the sponge brush is necessarily the right brush for this step, but we can surely try, friends. We can surely try. I don't know. Guess we'll find out, huh? And it is okay if you go past your little line there. You just don't want a huge buildup of paint in that spot. And again, probably would go faster if we were masking and spray painting, but we're not. Right? So. Yeah, I think that kind of do think that another brush might be a good idea, like a brush, but just for entertainment's sake, let's try something. Maybe this is good. Mm. That's the great thing about this is this such a low cost project. Like this is a less than I don't know if you guys reach out to Womp Mando and he makes you something like the flag. I don't know how much that would cost. We just worked out this was part of an art exchange for a project he's working on. But this part of it is below 20 bucks to make. Like this is a couple hour project that you could do. And especially, like I said, if you were spray painting and you had a little assembly line set up, you're only doing so much work if you do multiples, right? The work gets less and less as you go along with each group of them. Okay. All right. That's a good black base coat. You're not seeing the white through that. You're seeing the reflection. Even though this is really matte, you're still that bright. Light is bright. So there's one. Let's do the biggest one next. Let's get that right out of the way. Nah, we'll do them in the order that they go together. I'm just gonna do our 3 toothpicks again. This is a great. Also, if you're painting like cardboard tubes or you're about to glue a cardboard tube down and you want it to sit flat, the 3 toothpicks from there before your glue will help just keep it upright. So a little bit of effort, a little bit of not effort. That's not the word. A little tip. That's the phrase I was looking for. Giving you a tip. Just a tip, just to see how it feels. Getting this on here, and then we're just gonna go through and tap that, like with the sponge, like we just did. Ugh. I gave the cats catnip toys that look like little pieces of Chinese food. One of them looks like a Chinese food container with noodles coming out of it. One of them looks like a dumpling, and the other one looks like a. The hell does the other one look like? Oh, it looks like a Lucky Cat from the counter of the restaurants. Um, and they've just been having a great time with those today. That was my little. I figured I was going out, and while I was at the store, I would grab that for them so that they had a little something extra for Easter. The Easter Bunny came, the cats too. And yes, there's going to be layers and layers of paint on here, but I do like to have an even, you know, a good dark undercoat. It's just, this is my way of doing it. This is my primer. This is how I prime my parts. You guys have seen the results. If this is your first time and you want to see some of the stuff that I've done, you can check out my other videos on the channel after this, or you can go over to Instagram, Famine Studios X, over on Instagram, and check it out. In some of my older pictures of my cosplay and prop work, a lot of my new stuff is my toys and models and world building. I'm also a writer. I have a book on Amazon you guys can chickadee check out. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. This is all just fun. It's a process. It's a hobby. Set up the next one. Again, 3, 3 sticks. 3 toothpicks, I should say. You could probably, if you had some of that white foam that you didn't mind sacrificing, you could probably just outright punch holes through it to set these in. But this is just the way I'm doing it, baby. The way I'm doing it. Jesus, did they lose another F-15 fighter? Just layering it on, baby. Tuned in to watch this guy doing artwork live, and he's just spanking his parts, and that's not a euphemism. Well, I'm not spanking them, I'm tapping them to get some decent coverage and to also add a little bit of texture to the parts. Whatever you say, bud. Seems like you're having a good time. You know, your mother didn't complain. That's all I'll say. Now he's insulting my mother. I am not going to give this guy a super chat. I'm not even going to give him a thanks, and I'm not going to click the like button. Certainly not going to subscribe, and I'm not going to go to patreon.com/FamineStudios and sign up. He's even got a free tier that I'm not going to sign up for because he was rude. You know, sometimes you get that on these big jobs. Oh, there we go. Oh. Oh, a tip. Just the tip, Tone, just to see how it feels. Oh, oh, good. That's beautiful. Tone gets excited whenever he hears about the tip. Isn't that right, Tone? I need to get my PlayStation set up so I can get into Cyberpunk. That's going to be something I'd like to do. Get some time behind the controller. It's been a while. And Fallout as well. I'm a very casual gamer, anymore. But I do have my games that I do love. And you may be asking yourself right now, like, what the fuck were we just talking about? That this guy was talking about gaming. My brain was thinking about Tone, who's probably gaming right now, and therefore, um, I started to have a conversation in my head about gaming, and then said it out loud. But it was more of a declaration. It wasn't just like me continuing that conversation. It's something I would like to do is get my PlayStation 4 set up. Then my buddy Mickey gave me his loaded up with Cyberpunk for me. And I bet the cats would love watching me drive around Night City because they do pay attention to what's on the television screen, especially Quinn. That dude watches TV and watches the reels on my phone if I'm scrolling. Like he'll get himself set up and cuddled up so that he can rest his head and watch me as I scroll through. And if he seems really interested in one, I'll like play it on repeat a couple of times so he can watch it again. I don't know if it's good for his brain or his developmental health, but boy howdy, the kid loves it. And isn't that what we're here for? Is to just leave a better world for our children. And if that better world involves doom scrolling and watching reels of people fall down. Oh yes, Storm. Have we decided that we're going to meow at the door instead of scratch at it for 24 hours? Now the cool part is that this piece is mostly covered. So I'm only going to have to paint a little bit here and a little bit here. And then I'll just be able to set it here to dry. Reels are sweet when people get scared. Yeah, no, I cackle. There's that one guy who scares his wife, gorgeous redhead. She's an athlete model, an athlete and a fitness model, I should say. And she always makes the funniest faces and noises when she gets scared. And god damn it, I cackle every time. I don't know. That's probably something wrong with me. That's 1000% like probably something to do with whatever mental illness is lingering in my brain. And I'm in therapy, so hopefully, one day we'll approach that and figure out why I get such a big kick out of seeing people get scared. Also, people wiping out doing sports that are completely optional, like not the gnarly ones where it's like somebody was cliff diving and they just fucking smashed themselves off the side of a cliff and that was the end of them and it's like, oh, you just watched a man die. No, like the people that go, they get on those launch pads in the lakes and then three or four people jump on it and sends them sailing, but instead of like going sailing towards the water they come flying back on a launch pad and land. Very funny to me. I'm coming, Storm, I'm coming, buddy. Sir, this is a Wendy's. Get in here. Come on. Good boy. Thank you, sir. Go on up in your box. And wait, whoa. Last time you did this. There you go, buddy. Come on. Go ahead. Good job, man. Dad's working over here. You gotta be careful. I don't know why I find it so funny. Like, I don't want to see people get hurt, but or when somebody dumb. I guess I do want to see people get hurt. Like when somebody's antagonizing, say, an alligator in Florida, and then they're surprised when it grabs hold of their arm and starts to roll them. Like, that's what you get. What did you expect, you knucklehead? Like, don't do that. And it, you know, wouldn't have happened. Like why are you fussing with an alligator? Like that's just, you know, good business to not fuss with an alligator. Quick, let me get this. Let me just hit this real quick. Okay, we don't need that anymore. The toothpicks, I can put those back in a second. I'm just gonna help cure this chalk paint before we start adding our metallics and things like that to build up color. I guess we should also paint those joints black, but I think we can get the metal look on the pipes first, because they're going to be the easiest ones because they involve the least amount of effort and work before weathering. And that's a good thing. This is us thinking ahead and applying our thinking brains. Also, that gentleman who, very big guy, big boy, bigger than me, probably about a foot taller too, but his neck like snaps at a 90-degree angle every time he gets scared, and I think he's British. Oh my god, that dude fucking sends me too when he gets scared. People are constantly spooking him because they know how easy it is. It's like I'm building a robot hand. There's a little bit of white showing through. I'm not going to lose any sleep over that. Now we're going to stand up. Give the little hands a shake. And let's think about what color paint we're going to do for the pipes. I've got bronze. I think bronze is going to be a good one to do. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll do a little metallic bronze. See how it looks. We can always change it. It is just paint. No one's going to die from paint choices we make. And I keep that brush out so I can use it later on those pieces. But for this, I want to do not necessarily a dry brush, but we're going to do some nice up and down motions and then come back and soften it out with a little bit of dry feather. And I guess we'll do this piece first because we can. Some palette. Put the palette up here. There we go. There we go. And this is, I think this is going to weather up really nicely. And again, the reason why this piece is just painted a little bit in two spots is because this is going to have the flag over most of that, so you'll barely see it but I wanted to make sure we get some coverage on there just in case wind blows it or I move it or whatever. Because again, it's the little extra steps I think that make things a cut above, and that's why I share them. And that's why I stress too, like some of the stuff I do is beyond what is necessary for your project. You don't need to do this. This could be done with spray paint. This doesn't have to be done with a brush. This is just how I want to do it today. I may change that style, but I know that I can get the results that I want to achieve doing so this way. And so that's why I'm doing it. But you could absolutely say, hey, Famine, I like the way that you did it, or I hate the way that you did it, but I'm going to do it my way. All power to you. Like, please do it a way that makes you happy and makes you have the product, the end result that you want. Like that's so key. That's such a requirement. You know, that's part of the art is to make it the way you want it to be. Because at the end of the day, as I said, it is art. And art's left up to the interpretation. I know some people that would never take the time. Oh shit! Just put that in black paint. Son of a bitch. They would never take the time to like scuff up their spray paint, and that's their prerogative, or scuff up their PVC. That's their prerogative, right? They wanna just have the thing painted up and ready to go and hanging on the wall, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just not how I would do it. It's not the level of effort that I'm putting into my stuff. But again, however you want to do your thing, rock and roll, man. It's up to you. It's you're the artist that's doing it, right? You're the person who's putting in the work, who's making those choices of how their artwork's going to look and what it's going to reflect, and that's like 1000% you. So do it the way you want to do it. Never ever feel like it's a requirement. All my videos are how to's, sure, but they are also how Famine does it. It's not, hey, this is the only way to do it, and if you don't do it that way, you're wrong. No, nope, absolutely not. If you have a way that makes you comfortable, makes you happy, or it's easier for you, uh, you know, do not even think for a second you have to do it the way that I do it. You can get the same or similar results that will make you happy doing it other ways, and that is fine. That's that's the beautiful thing about stuff like this is it's artwork. It's the effort you can put in versus what you get out is entirely up to you. I know some people when they do customizing action figures and things, they will just instead of sanding the joints or whatever, they'll paint them, and if the paint flakes while they're posing it, well, it looked good when I posed it for the photo, and I'm happy with that, and that's cool. That's not how Famine would do it, but again, that's me. That's my choice, right? So I always encourage if you have a different way or a way that makes you happy or another way that you saw it, maybe you want to share it, drop it in the comments. Hell yeah. Chances are I may try it just to see. But when you're doing prop work and like me, I know this is something that's going to be on camera. This is something I'm very happy with, so I want to really showcase it, and I'm floored that somebody would make something like that, a bespoke piece, like something that's just damn cool. And so I want to make sure that I put in the extra effort right now so that in the future when this thing's photographed or, you know, who knows, maybe I bring it to a con or to a Star Wars event. Um, it's going to look the best that it can to my ability. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. Because I know sometimes old famine will talk. And some people, say famine talks too much, and that may be true. But I like to think I'm saying something worthwhile. One of the one of those things that I was kind of yammering on about there, but experience wise, I'll tell you, tales is like people telling other makers, other costume makers, other prop builders, things like that. Like they may build a super beautiful prop, great piece. Maybe it's screen accurate, maybe it's something that they built on their own or they kit bashed or whatever. And thing looks fantastic, and they start, talking shop with other makers, and they're like, hey, um, what kind of adhesive did you use for that? You'd be like, oh, I used you know, CA glue, super glue. Yeah, that's garbage. You should have used you know, should have used Super 77 spray adhesive. That's the only one you should use on these things. You shouldn't use super glue. The thing's gonna break. It's garbage. Like you might as well have not tried. And I've been present for these conversations, and spoken up, be like, yeah, it seems to work fine for that person, or maybe that person speaks up on their own behalf. Um, but it's like there's so many different ways to do things, and if you're coming along across my channel and you see me doing it, you're like, oh, that's wrong. Well, let me know how you do it, and then also do it your way. I'm not stopping you. I'm not, again, I've always led with this is how, excuse me, this is how I do it. I'm showing you the way that I do it, and you're not going to hurt my feelings if you do it a different way. But if you get the same results or you get a similar result and you're happy with it, well then hell yeah. Like why would I discourage that? Why would anybody discourage that? I don't understand. And for some people, being a really good maker is a high point of pride, right? And I 1000% get that. You want to be just like Ash Ketchum, you want to be the very best. But you being good doesn't impede other people also being good. Does it shouldn't impede other people being good, I should say. Um, there's no reason to stifle anyone else's creativity or efforts because you think you've got the solution. Flip this around. And you may hear me say that sentence out loud, like, oh, that's not how I would do it. But it's not me preventing anybody else from doing it that way. Um, I may see somebody doing something, be like, hey, that could be dangerous because of X, Y, or Z, which I do encourage you to keep an eye out. And we're all grown ups or anything, but if like you see somebody mixing chemicals when they're doing something that just very well shouldn't be, or number one thing I see where people do a project and then it fails is when they spray paint, which is why I tend to stray away or use very specific brands and flavors of spray paint. I know I said flavor, types of spray paint, is because spray paints are solvent based, most of them, and they react accordingly. So you'll see somebody doing a prop on their channel and they're like, "Yep, I got this. We'll say it's a tester's rattle can silver. Look how shiny that is. We're going to protect it. I've got this brand X lacquer." They spray it on. 2 days later, they go to pick it up from the garage. Orange peel, or it's bubbled, or it's cracked, or it didn't dry whatsoever. And they can't figure out why. And it's like you switch between brands, and certain brands have propellants in them that don't work with each other. And so if you see somebody like working on a prop that way, and you know that is a dangerous thing that could happen, or the off gassing could hurt the final thing, like let them know. Um, if I were to take this foam outside and I just got a regular rattle can of like Rust-Oleum and sprayed it, there's propellant in here in this polystyrene foam, extruded polystyrene foam, that the accelerant in that Rust-Oleum would absolutely eat through that foam, pit it all up, make it bubble. It would off get, it would stink. Like there's a there's no reason to make that mistake. So if you see somebody going to make a mistake, let them know, like, hey, that's going to eat through your foam. Now, if you sealed it with Mod Podge or sealed it with wood glue, Elmer's glue, anything to prevent that from getting on there, it's not going to eat through. And that's a great tip. You could say that to somebody, like, hey, before you spray paint that, if you haven't already, go ahead and seal it. That way it doesn't eat through the foam. It's a constructive way to offer advice without seeming like a dickhead and being like, oh, you're doing it wrong. Now, if back to the glue thing, if someone had said to another person, like, oh, you used the wrong glue, that's garbage. Instead of that, hey, I use this glue because I encountered that problem that that you may face a little later. So I've jumped to this glue for all my projects. Maybe in the future, try it out, or I can show you some stuff that I've done with both, and you can decide for yourself. Like you can be constructive and still be the very best, and not hurt someone else's productivity and not hurt their feelings. And I know it's kind of going like, oh, you're worrying about hurting somebody's feelings, sissy. Well, it's like, yeah, you don't need to. Nobody's got to be mean for the sake of being mean. There is no, that doesn't need to happen, right? So just be good to each other. And as you're a maker and a creator, and you ask questions and you learn things, and maybe you want to pass it along, just do it in a kinder way. You don't got to be a dick about it. Jesus Christ, this famine guy just fucking rambles. Just ramble about glue. He's not even gluing anything. He said purposely earlier in the episode he wasn't going to glue things together. Why is he still talking about gluing things? Last piece on the bronze here. We're going to hit this with a really cool wash. Once this is nice and dry, I think it's going to give it a very cool effect. Also, Tone, what game are you playing, by the way? I forgot to ask. Crimson Desert. Oh, yeah, you're doing it wrong. That game sucks. You're wrong. No, there's a lot of people are playing that game and saying very good things about it. So I'm happy to to hear that you're enjoying yourself. Fantasy goodness. I'm looking forward to Fable. Big Fable fan. Loved that game. Absolutely loved that game. And I'm looking forward to the sequel. Okay. Done with that color. Now we're going to clean our brush and we're going to start putting paint on these pieces. I did just die for punching a wall. You died for punching a wall? Like you punched the wall and somebody shot you? Or you punched a wall and the wall fell on you? Trying to get iron ore. Okay. So it's like Minecraft where you have to like collect your materials in order to make things to get like level up your items, or high up on a cliff, fell to the death. That'll get you. That's why you can't drink White Monster and listen to Linkin Park at the same time. You punch a wall and all of a sudden you've fallen off a cliff. I get it. Okay. Now we're going to paint these bad boys with black, like I said. Yes, we're going to paint them black, and then we're going to hit them with some silver and a wash. Weapons upgrades need the metals. Cool. Does it have like a ton of slots? Does it have a ton of slots for you to carry things, or do you have to like harvest a certain amount and then you got to make your way over to like Steve Blacksmith and have him work on your stuff for you? Or can you just like bank your materials and then eventually go and have somebody work on it? Because in some cases I love that. I'm like, oh, that's a clever game mechanic, you know. Like you have to take the material to somebody and have them stockpile it before you can build it. But other games where it's like, oh, you can just fucking build up so many things. Upgrading weapon, but you gotta get more ore. Nice. Because like the mechanic, on the one hand, the mechanic's cool. It's like, oh, neat, like that's real life. Like I have to, if I'm having somebody build me a sword or whatever, I got to get the materials and bring it to them and all that other stuff. And other times I'm just like, let me just collect 10,000 carrots to take to the doctor so he can restore my vision with carrot stew. Like, please don't make me walk it over to him and then go back and get 20 more carrots and walk it over to him, or like have to unlock slots for the carrot. Just let me bring the carrots all at once, you know? And I know I do sound like a guy who's very passionate about his carrots, but it's just the mechanic part of the game mechanics part of it. And I'm just like I said, I'm putting the black on there, and then I am going over it with the heat wand to help accelerate my paint, just cure time, make it cure quicker. primarily because I just want to turn it around and be able to stick 2 fingers in the opposite side of the hole, if you know what I mean. And just get this top lip painted. Lips and tips, baby, lips and tips. That's what we're here for. Getting paint on both. Right, Storm? I do get a kick out of like some games where it's like you're over encumbered and it slows you down and everything. Um, like it just, I guess it depends on how frustrating the level is and how many slots and how much effort I put in to harvesting the things that I'm gonna get carrying around. I have gonna be making a bunch of cast pieces of 112 stormtrooper helmets tomorrow. That's my Easter plan. Anybody else doing anything for the holiday or just in the day off, as it were? I know a lot of stores are going to be closed, so people that work, friends that work retail, you got tomorrow off. You got anything fun going on? No holiday to celebrate. I do not celebrate it either. However, if someone has me over and gives me a plate of deviled eggs and some ham and leaves me alone, I might not say no. Your boy likes deviled eggs. Eh. Oh, there we go. Here. Cool, cool. All right. Timber. Yeah. Need to load the palette up with a little more paint. I don't think I've participated in Easter celebrations in a very long time. I am painting the end of this piece, but I think I'm going to glue agreeably there. So I'm probably just going to wind up scuffing it down anyway before I apply the paint. But just in case I don't, I've got paint coverage there. Because this is the end cap piece that's going to be on the end of the pipe Who knows? I could put a blinking light there or something just to draw a little more attention to it. That'd be pretty cool. Make it look like a droid eye. Gotta roll. Take it easy, Aunt. Catch up with you later. This is a long stream, by the way, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Some of you guys have been here since the start of the stream. Some of you joined a little bit later. It's appreciated. And again, thank you for the super chats, both to Angus and Tone. Oh, this one has a lot of excess baking soda on it. Guess it didn't absorb into the glue, but that's cool because it's getting sopped up into the paint. Getting sopped in the paint. You know, some people say going hard in the paint when they're talking about basketball or whatever hobby they've applied that to. We're getting sopped in the paint here in Famine Studios. This is long haul build where we get sopped in the paint. What up, Famine? What are you working on tonight? Oh, just getting sopped in the paint with my homies. That sounds pretty messy, man. Oh, it is, baby. You know it. Don't act like you ain't ever getting sopped in the paint. Last piece is getting the black on it now. Guess I'll knock loose some of that. Cool, cool. I'm going to have to touch up the bottom of the angle, but that'll be a quick touch up once this is dry. So I'm going to cheat right now by using, actually just going to take a little bit of the luster off of this with some dry brushing of this really matte paint on there. I do see that there's some English numbers on there, or basic numbers on there, but don't matter. We can always put a greebly over it later. That'll just help take a little bit of the shine off. So let's use our heat gun right now. Do a little bit of guaranteed drying here. Accelerate some drying, as it were. Oh, ah. Again, like I said, if I was smart and I had planned a little more accordingly, I could have had an extra piece of PVC to stick these on to hold on to them while I painted them. But this works, because this is not so hot that it burns me, but it is warm enough to accelerate the curing of the paint. And that allows me to take care of the back end of that room. Just go ahead and repeat the same process with this one now. Go ahead and get that paint on there. Yeah, buddy. Cool, cool. All right. Timber. Cool, cool. All right, these are ready for, well, this one's got to get a little touch up there, but these are ready for the dry brushing. All right, so we're gonna clean this paintbrush out. Just get all the black paint we can out of it, and baking soda. I'm sure that it's picked up plenty from that process, but that's how we do. All right. All right, let's go. Silver time, right? Okay, let's get some silver. No, we're not going to do silver. We will do so. Stay with me. We're going to do wrought iron or rough iron, which is closer to a metallic purpley color. And I think purple and bronze, well, purpley metallic and bronze with the different washes, I think they're going to be really cool. So we're trying something out here. We will probably feather a little bit of silver on there, but let's do some dry brushing, kids. That's what you're here for, anyways. You guys tuned in. You're like, well, he's doing one to one scale, but they do call him Big Daddy Dry Brush. Maybe he'll dry brush. Well, the good news is I am Big Daddy Dry Brush, and I will be dry brushing some stuff right now. So come along with me, kids. Wrought iron. That good portion. Use your paper towel. Wipe that off. You guys know the drill. Try and keep the cat hair off of your projects. And start dry brushing. Starting to shine on there, which is what we want. Now I'm doing a little stippling in some areas here, just to bolster the luster. Yeah, bud. Cool, cool, cool. That's, yeah. That's what I'm going for right there. That look reminds me of the Stranger's helmet, the Quatorsus That's cool. Now we're getting somewhere. This is going to be badass. And again, we're just dry brushing this finish on here. Hitting the high points, and you're going to have a lot of recesses because of the texturing that we did. Excuse me. Which is great for this dry brushing, but it's going to be even better when we start hitting some washes on here, because it's creating a lot of like little craters and recesses for the paint to go. And I'm all about that. And again, just gives it that strange metal, almost like, is it metallic? Is that rusty? Like, what is that? And I mean, just putting it right next to that, so good. So good. But we're going to do a wash on those, and that's going to even really, you'll see. I'm very excited about how this is turning out. Bless you, Storm. Homie did a little sniffle. Oh, good boy. Not good boy because you sneezed. You're just a good boy, Storm. Yeah. I just wanted you to know that, buddy. You good boy. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. She's got that weird texture and color. I am in love. I may do this method in the future for some other projects because I am loving the way that this looks. Like this came out better than I imagined it would have. This design, this color combo was a theory in my head. Like, okay, what if I did this? Cool, cool, cool. And again, I think I'm just going to use this brush to put a little of this on here. Lighten up the cool. Cool. All right. Let's work on getting our wash on these other pieces here. Now I have to make a wash. Fair degree. This should turn out pretty cool. If it doesn't, I'm blaming Tone. Hey, Tone, have a good night, man. Gonna bounce. Good hanging. Hey, be good. And yeah, this is a long one, but we're closing in on the we're closing in on things here. So we're gonna take this verdigris glaze. We're gonna shake the holy heck out of it. And I'm gonna go get some clean paint water. Blame me. Yep, I'm blaming Tone. I'm gonna go get some clean paint water because this water is looking a little horrific. So we're gonna point the camera at the cat for a second. Like I said, just gonna go dump this out and get some fresh water. Hi, buddy. Yeah, goofy boy. Be good. Make good choices. All right, we got some fresh. Well, it was fresh from the faucet. Got into the messy water, but that's okay. How we all doing? Okay. I've loaded up one of those sections with paint or with water. Putting some verdigris glaze in there. I've got this brush. That is a nice skim milk consistency. Damn, that was on the first go. So we're going to do this over a paper towel. I'd like to get a better. Remove this brush. Sop that up. Get the gray. I get that dirty paint water that was residing in there out. Yeah. There we go. All right, cool. Better. All right, we got a wet brush. We've got this wash loaded on the brush here. We're gonna do it right over the paper towel and just work it around. And let it cool. Just gonna rotate this. Do the same on this side. Blast this. That water, leave behind some of that pigment. Some down here. And we can do layers of this. Like this wash can be layered on. But hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. Put a little on my arm. Cool. Cool. And then we're just going to take this dirty paper towel here, clean up any of the drippies, the drips. All right, is the difference. We can always go back and do a couple more layers. I'm not adverse to that idea. I don't know. I don't think that we will. I am going to add just a little bit more paint into the mix. Yeah, I think that's a good idea for this wash. We'll pigment it just a little bit more. If you can hear Quinny, he's yelling for his brother, come play. So let's do this wash here. Yep, that is infinitely better. I'm doing a verdigris wash on something that's bronze or copper. I actually learned this technique from Derek from Van Oaks Props when he did his cemetery. He made a few statues and then made a verdigris wash and spritzed it on them and on some tombstones that had like metallic finishes and let it run down. But I think this, as far as this way goes, pretty dang cool. I'm letting those drips, letting it pool in certain areas. And you can see beads up in different spots. And that's what we want. Because who knows? We don't, we don't know where this metal comes from. Maybe this, maybe this was salvaged off of a space wreck when the bar owner was building it, or whatever. And as such, pieces were wet and damaged, or there's moisture and humidity in the air. Maybe some other species, when they come to the bar, they breathe heavy, right? Maybe they have very moist breaths. And so there are just layers of patina. All right. Real quick, we got a little bare section here. We'll just spread those drips around. That's got a good look to it. We're gonna do the same for this piece here. Cool, cool. I am enjoying this process. And I know this isn't the usual stuff, and I know some of these projects will be faster versus other ones in the future. So, I appreciate you guys tuning in to watch these types of videos just as much as the world building and the toy making. Because again, these apply the same skills, the same techniques apply whatever you're doing. It's just on a larger scale or a smaller scale. It's different. It's just a different type of world building. You're adding characters and details and story to these pieces of your world. This one just happens to be 1-to-1 scale instead of 118. Get water on there. There we go. It's cool. All right, all right. And I think I'm gonna hit this one with another pass of this wash just to soften that because it dried before we had put the extra pigment in there. So I want that on there. Cool. So we'll blast this, right? Again, just do what we can. We're adding character to it. We're adding lore. Because again, now we have a reason, at least in my head, why the metal is oxidized, right? Because sometimes in the bar, uh, critters come in from other planets and other realms, and maybe their breath is a little more moist, and the air systems in the bar don't keep up on it. Maybe the material was fetched out of water, and so that's why it's got some type of patina on it from time to time. Just cool little bits of lore. I'm gonna go and just take what's left of this since we did this piece too. Oh wait, this isn't the no. See, almost made a mistake there, boys and girls, children of all ages. Degeneration X probably brings to you. Anybody gets that? That's an old school reference right there. All right, so let's do. We're gonna move on to some pigment powders now. And you're like, Famine, what do you mean pigment powders? Back when you used to make props, you didn't use pigment powders. You used washes and paints, and that's it. Well, buddy, it's a whole new world out here. All right. But yeah, we're gonna do some pigments. Is that all right with you? Better be, because I'm gonna do it anyway. Come on. If I can remember where I put my pigment powders. They're there. And both brushes. Will that fit? Will that be a good end cap? No, if it was this way. If it was that way, absolutely. But it's not. It's this way. Bum, bum, bum. It's okay. Another option. That could be. I think that's going to be our end cap. That's made from an Evil Ted mold. Molded and casted. Molded and casted. I had made several casts out of a mold and have this. So we will finish this up. This will just be a quick and easy piece to do. I'm just going to cut the flashing off right now because I can. Be careful, Famine. Don't injure yourself. All right. Back to this. We're going to do some powder, some pigment powder on here. We're going to do a, I think not orange. No. Maybe a little pink. No. I think. Boy, that's tempting. Let's just start doing, and we'll see where we land. Right. Get a little yellow here. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Photographs a little differently. So let's see what the green looks like. It's cool. Yeah. So we'll roll with that. I like that. Adds a little bit the yellow and the green. So we're gonna do those two together. So we'll get a little bit of yellow on the brush, pick a couple of spots. Maybe down here towards the bottom. That's neat. And then I make sure with these pigments, whoa, when I do them, as I kind of blend it, I feather them out. And that's just going to help how they visually look. So I just did the yellow. I'm going to add some green. And sometimes the green touches the yellow, I guess. That's, again, cool. Just adding layers of world to it, right? Like, we don't know what this dust is. Is it a dirty bar? Not like a, you know what you get what I'm trying to say. Is the green like a fungus? Is that part of the oxidation process of the metal? I don't know. Does it look cool? I think so. Again, we just take a knife, scratch, scratch, scratch. Pick some spots to really lay this in. Cool, cool, cool. And the last piece here. Yeah, go a little bit heavier on this because why not, right? Because we can. Cool. That's just adding some neatness to it. Cool, cool. And again, just putting this green on here and kind of feathering it into certain areas, letting it touch some of the orange. Actually, just out of curiosity, would that fit in there? Oh, you know, I don't think I need to use that other piece. I think I could just drop that in there with a little bit of super glue on it. Or a coin. Do I have a coin? Let's do that. There we go. That's super glued in place. I just dropped a little 3D printed disc that I had in there. And we're just going to kick it with some baking soda. Cool. That's just giving it a gross build up there. We'll throw some, yeah, we'll throw a little chalk pastel on there. And we're promise for the folks that have been here for the entire duration, we're getting close to done here. May not seem it, but we indeed are. There we go. And that looks like it's been there and aged with it the whole time, baby. It's one of those tricks. Baking soda and super glue creates a crusty, nice togetherness that you guys just got to witness happen first. Put that back up there. All right, so we've got our end piece. That's on there. Now, before we put our flag on there, we're going to take a brush. I want a brush with a little bit of a point to it. So we're going to use this bad boy right here. All right. So get a brush. I'm going to take out our chalk paint here. Wet it. Keep wetting it. It's not necessarily a wash. I just want this paint to flow a little bit easier. And so for adding just a little bit of detail, shadow. Okay. And that just looks like a little bit of greasy oil, and it adds an extra shadow there, right? So real quick, we'll blast this with the heat gun. But we won't need to in the other spots, but I just want to make sure. Beautiful. All right. So we're gonna grab this flag. Okay. And we're gonna stick the banner right through it. Yeah. Come on. All right. We've got our first official piece on there. We're gonna leave this up a little bit. I think it's a little bit higher. There we go. We're gonna take our corner piece, fit that right on there. Okay. Give it an extra push. Take that brush that we just did that with. Get that off there. There we go. Keep going again. Again, because I just want to dry. Good enough for that. Okay. Now we got our three pieces, so we're gonna go. We're gonna separate this out like me for a minute. I'm gonna put this one together. Okay. Let's get a pipe. There we go. And then we're gonna put our next piece in here. Okay. And then put our next piece in. Lighten it up thick there. A little bit of water. And like I said, we're just doing this to give it that grimy, almost like an airbrush look. Like when people come in at the seams of their costumes or whatever, and they airbrush where the joins are. It's just adding a shadow, a visual shadow there. Um, I like it. I like to do it. And I think it just helps the overall look of the project. You can feather it with your finger if you want, if you really want to like accomplish that airbrush look. And make sure upside down, Got two sides to it. Never forget there's a second side. And it helps add the character to it. Now, we're going to cheat a little bit here. We're going to do this with the black paint. Put that on there before we put that elbow piece up top. So just push that in. There we go. Cool, cool, cool. And now we've got our last piece of this way. And we'll, again, like I said, there's two sides to it, two ends. So we want to make sure that we get that back end. Paint that on there. Paint that on there. And if you get a run, that's cool. All right, that looks like a little bit of oil drip down. Okay. And cool, cool. Now we take our last but certainly not least elbow piece. It is the last elbow piece, but not the least of the elbow pieces. Paint. Like I said, it's okay to put this on here. Let it look like drips. Let it feather. A little bit of squeeze out, who knows? You can feather it with your finger around there. Just adds that effect. And then let's straighten this out a little bit. Oh. And we've got our cross piece. That's going to connect that coming off the wall. That one we could glue. Not gonna, but we could. And then ultimately, we put this bad boy on. We stick it against the wall. And we have a freaking sick bar sign. Or we could even go so far as to like rotate it that way, which I think is going to be the way that it goes. But yeah, we got it right there, kids. All right. For those that watch this entire thing, thank you very much. Thank you for sticking around. That's so cool. This thing came out great. In the meantime and between time, as I love to say, check it out. All right, guys, be good. Thank you for the super chats. Again, if you're new to the channel, I'm Famine. I do world building in 1/18 scale and 1-to-1 scale. If you like this sort of thing, please stay tuned. Tune into the next live stream. I usually live stream Tuesdays. Anybody who signs up to Patreon, you guys know the drill. If you can help out, go ahead and sign up. That'd be great. If you can't, understood. Womp Rat Mando over on Instagram. Go check out his stuff. He's the one that made me this awesome bar banner. I'm beyond thrilled. I can't wait to see this thing in my bar, but I think it's going to get set up somewhere in here for the time being. So hope you guys have a great night.